One nation, one election. Chances are you have heard or read or at least spoken about it in the last 24 hours. The question is it really happening? Is India moving towards holding one election? And is it possible for the central and the state governments to hold simultaneous polls? More importantly, can a country as diverse as India even hold simultaneous elections? And if so, what does it mean for the world's largest and most complex democracy? Let's find out. Reports say that the Modi government has constituted a committee. It is reportedly headed by India's former president, Nath Kovind. The panel has reportedly been tasked with exploring the possibility of one nation, one election. And the timing is very interesting. The report comes after India's Parliamentary Affairs Minister, Prahlad Joshi, announced that the government has called for a special session of the Indian Parliament. It is a 5-day session and will begin on the 18th of September. And what's the agenda of this session, you ask? The answer is, we do not know. Nothing has been made public as of now, and government officials are extremely tight-lipped about it. And this, you see, is only adding to the speculation. A part of the speculation is that the government wants to table the one nation, one election bill. Again, keep in mind that nothing is confirmed as of now, but if this does happen, then you should not be surprised. Let me tell you why. You see, India's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, has for long advocated this concept. In fact, one nation, one election was listed in the BJP's 2014 election manifesto. So what really is one nation, one election all about? The idea essentially is about reconstructing the Indian election cycle. It aims to synchronize elections at both the state and the central levels simultaneously. The concept is to hold these elections together, either on a single day or within a specific time frame. But why does the government want to hold elections for states and the center together? Because there are numerous advantages. Let's start off with the cost reduction. You see, conducting multiple elections together will reduce the cost. 2, a single election would theoretically ease the burden on the administrative and the security forces who are otherwise engaged multiple times for election duties. Number 3, the focus on governance. Some argue that one nation, one election could also help the governments. How exactly? Those in power will be able to concentrate more on governance rather than constantly being in election mode. You see, being in election mode can hinder policy implementation. Point number 4 being increased voter turnout. Simultaneous polls could also increase the voter turnout. It will be more convenient, perhaps, for people to cast multiple ballots at once. These benefits do make a compelling case for considering the concept of one nation, one election. The concept, after all, is not new to India. In fact, it is as old as our constitution. After the constitution was adopted in the year 1950, polls to both the Lok Sabha and all the state assemblies were held simultaneously. Every 5 years, between 1951 and 1967, India voted simultaneously for the center and the states. In 1952, 1957, 1962 and 1967, the process ended as new states were formed and some old ones were reorganized. It was completely discontinued after some legislative assemblies were dissolved in 1968 to 69, and the idea to revert to simultaneous polls was first suggested in the Election Commission's report in 1983. And then the Law Commission proposed to bring it back in its report in 1999. The most recent push came in 2014. The BJP had made a strong pitch for one nation, one election in its election manifesto. And then came the Law Commission's draft resolution in 2018. It backed the idea and recommended changes to the electoral laws as well as constitutional provisions. The Law Commission of India says simultaneous elections can only be held through appropriate amendments to the Constitution. It also said that at least 50% of the states must ratify the constitutional amendment. The biggest challenge is synchronizing the terms of various state assemblies with those of the Lok Sabha. Regional political parties argue that holding multiple elections simultaneously would hinder their prospects. Why exactly? Because they won't be able to emphasize on local issues prominently. Not just that, there is a fear that they will not be able to compete with national parties, be it in terms of financial resources or the election strategies. Is this a valid point? Yes, of course. But here's what else is also true. In a democracy as diverse and complex as India, it is hard to get every part to agree to a change. And the idea of one nation, one election is no exception. All the more given the timing of it all. 5 major states are scheduled to hold elections later this year, and then you have the Lok Sabha elections coming up next year. At a time like this, every announcement will be seen with additional skepticism. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.